So like I created this, so I guess I'll explain it. You stand in the middle, Chris. So he's going to kind of MC and read what the logical. So wait, let's take a step back.
Yes.
Who here knows what logical fallacies are?
I do.
I don't.
Dad, what's a logical fallacy?
Ad hominem, it's just different things that are perceived to have rhetoric that aren't really they're not true. They're designed to throw you off track of what truth is.
Yes. You said rhetoric, but what actually you went to here, but it's this part here that like so you went to rhetoric, but you want to establish the logic first. So that's the why. So when you hear this, you want to know why. This is why you shouldn't do it by actually tapping into logical fallacies. After you've gone through this, that's when you come to the how and how you make a decision based upon the logic first. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? Because it comes from the Latin fallare, meaning to lie. It's philologically fallacious. Okay? And so has anybody studied the logical fallacies a little bit? This is possibly the most powerful thing that we teach in the Trivium because it makes you lightweight, invincible in conversations. So, like when you watch TV, like my father works in the film industry, and so like one of the things I realized, like with my dad working in the film industry, being behind the scenes, is how they film things in such a way that it would work on your subconscious mind because of the way that they would communicate. Right? Words are power. A lot of people they're like eating their GMO food, they're popping their prescription pills, and they're watching TV and they're eating their TV dinner and they're like, oh, well, I need a chalupa now, and then they're like, oh, like if I get restless leg syndrome, I should take this pill, but they're being sold and they're using all these logical fallacies to redirect the way that you think. And it's also extremely common with politicians. You know, like we've all heard it where like the most common one is a red herring technique, where you ask a politician a question, and he goes, oh wow, he says literally two things about what you said, and it takes you a completely different direction. We've all seen that, right? Have you guys all seen that? So, in us teaching this, like I said, this is possibly the most powerful thing that we teach, because this you can directly apply to your life. And so, I created these short skits. Chris is going to be going over a short explanation of what they are, and then JL and I are going to be acting out and hopefully make it a little bit fun. So you can actually remember some of this stuff. So if you're in a situation and somebody's talking to you, you can go, oh, you just use a logical fallacy. You just like if you're in a conversation, somebody attacks you, that's an ad hominem attack. Like my dad says, the most common ones, right? So you can, you just attacked me as a person. Why are you using ad hominem attacks? And then you can actually use a logical fallacy and redirect the conversation, and you have more power in that conversation. Does that make sense? Basically, teach you to be more powerful. That sounds good, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Chris.
All right. The first one we're going to go over is a straw man fallacy, which is misrepresenting an opponent's argument to make it easier to attack.
You want me one?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, Odie, the federal government should relax its harsh drug policies. You know, everybody likes that stuff, and it's good, too.
Oh, so you think everyone should be injecting heroin on the street corner? Everyone would lose their work ethic and the country would fall apart. So does that make sense, guys? So I just took his story and I created a new story from it. It's actually a little similar to the red herring technique, right?
Maybe we should explain each one out.
We'll explain each one a little bit after. Does that make sense?
Let's break it down really quick. So what was said? So I basically said, hey, the federal government should relax its harsh drug laws, right? And then his response.
Oh, so you think everyone should be injecting heroin on the street corner?
So he's taking my perception and he's making a straw man, a whole new argument over here, and basically beating that argument up. And that's what a lot of people do. Rather than talk about the laws themselves, he makes his mind up on something completely irrelevant. Yeah. These are hard for me too. It takes a long time.
Yeah, you got to practice this.
And if you have questions, ask.
And we're videotaping this so you can watch this again. Go ahead, Chris.
All right. Second one we're going to go over is appeal to authority, which is claiming that what someone in a position of authority says must be true because they are an authority.
Right. So, hey man, my doctor told me I should start taking this new prescription. It's super rad. Why? Because my doctor sold it to me, and I know it's going to be the bomb because I trust him.
Have you researched all the products in it?
No, my doctor just said it's good, and I trust him.
Well, yeah, you're smart. Let me have some. Can we snort it? So, do you guys understand how that works? It's a pretty common one. It's where somebody's in a position of authority, and they say, well, I'm wearing a white coat. It happens on TV every day.
9 out of 10 doctors recommend this product.
Yeah, you can move it. So
I know, it's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Sorry.
So yeah, we see that all the time. So if somebody in a position of authority tries to say something, like, wait, like just because you're in a position of authority doesn't mean I should buy what you're selling. right? Like I have different doctors, and I always get a second opinion. Next one.
All right, next one is an ad hominem attack. This is when someone attacks the individual rather than the argument.
So, Odie, I think Monsanto might be an evil company that wants to control the world supply and feed us all GMOs and maybe even make us sick.
You're just a hippie tree hugger with a weird beard who doesn't understand the science of GMOs and how they will end world hunger. So, you see how I attacked him and his beard instead of attacking the argument. Yeah, it was, yeah. I like your beard, brother. I like your beard.
Give him another ad hominem and we'll really resolve everything.
So that's probably, like if you're in a conversation with somebody, and this is a really good thing to remember, if you're talking about something over here and they start attacking you, remember, you've won the conversation, right? You've won. So remember also, if you start feeling like you want to attack the person, don't lose the conversation or attack the person. Stay with the argument. Use different, like, this is like, it's like mind chess, right, guys? So.
All right, next one is a false dichotomy. It's when someone gives you only two options, saying it's either this or this and nothing else.
I think war is very necessary. Matter of fact, you're either with us or you're with the terrorists.
I'm neither. I'm with the Trivium group, spreading truth, knowledge, and wisdom.
So I gave him two options, right? Because I think war is good, and he didn't want to agree with me. And how often do we get that, right? Like George Bush, when we were going into Iraq and Afghanistan, was like, you're either with us or against us, you know, again and again. But you can be neither. You can do your own research. You can not be with or against.
Right? Or you could be out with your friends like, you're either with us or against us, dude. And like,
right.
People use that just on a day-to-day basis with their own conversations. So you can definitely apply this to your life. Chris.
All right, the next one is argument ad ignorantiam, which is arguing from ignorance.
Odie, I saw some lights in the sky. I think it's aliens from outer space, bro.
How do you know?
They were weird looking lights.
We must be aliens.
So no research, not talking about anything, just jumping to a conclusion, and we do this all the time.
Yeah.
I maybe feel emotional.
I've done this.
It was different. Oh my gosh, I always see this one light, and now this one was different. It had to be aliens, right?
Had to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
All right, next one is appeal to flattery. It's flattering someone to win an argument.
So Odie, I think we should watch TV less. I think it's actually programming our minds.
That's silly. You and I are way too smart
Yeah.
and immune to do any programming. Let's go watch the Kardashians.
Yeah, you're right. Good.
All right, so I mentioned that he and I are too smart and we're immune, so it's appeal to flattery, because Jails, he's a really smart guy. I mean, come on. We could watch TV all day, it wouldn't affect us at all, right? Do you want Chalupa? Right?
We do that all the time, right? We do that to our teachers.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I think you're so smart. Can I get a B instead of a C or
Yes.
whatever?
Appeal to
right?
flattery happens all the time.
Next one we got is appeal to pity. So using pity as a means to win an argument.
Odie, don't you feel bad for the Indians fighting for the oil pipeline?
No, I feel bad for the oil companies. How are they going to make up their shareholders rich with all this big holdup? Right? That was actually a double appeal to pity.
That was
Yeah, both of them were.
And a red herring, because I took what he said and I took it in a different direction. Right?
Sometimes we use many.
Right,
the
so that's where
fallacies are kind of
they're
yeah,
intertwined. And when
yeah.
we were driving up here, you got to make sure you're paying attention to that. What's up?
So that's like you're playing many chess pieces at the same time.
Yes.
Which is very,
Common.
common for a politician with a crowd.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And I think just in general conversations, all the time I'm noticing them with my clients, with myself. I might say and go, wait, I can't really.
You're using all your
go
own
for
ego,
there.
right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Very true. You'll be like, oh, that's okay. I can just do that. You'll use one in your own mind, like your own false dichotomy. Like, I could do this, or I could do that. Like, or I could do something else altogether. You know?
It's
Like-
almost built into our language, you know.
Yeah.
That's why the more you learn these, the more you free yourself up and start seeing things in brand new ways.
More control over your own mind. That's like the foundation. Like I always say, as a fitness coach, everyone's like, oh shit, I gotta train the mind. And that's why we do this, because this is the next generation of training the mind, body, spirit, all that stuff.
It's making me say maybe a lot more. Rather than like jumping over into this camp, I go, maybe, you know, I don't really know. Maybe that person's right, maybe they're not, but I'm not gonna engage and start using logical fallacies because I'm emotional about it. I haven't looked into it enough, so.
Well, that's keeping the subjectivity.
Yes.
Their own point of view.
And I never had that before. I was always just opinionated and I had no idea why, you know? No idea.
All right, next one.
All right, next one is argument ad populum or bandwagon. This is everybody's doing it, so I should do it too.
Very common one, Joe.
Don't you want to train to be the fittest on earth? Ugh.
How do you know you're the fittest on earth?
I watched a Reebok commercial. I also saw it on ESPN, and the people there said I should train and like them, and I'd be the fittest on earth.
Reebok was founded in Nazi Germany, bro.
Well, next time I better check my facts before I choose my workout program and get all excited about this.
So you see how that's commonly used on a day-to-day basis, like when you watch TV and people say that, oh, well, everybody's doing this, so you should jump on board. I mean, like you've actually probably used, we all use like, oh, well, everyone's doing it, why aren't you doing it? You know, you use it unconsciously. You know, that's one of the things that we teach you guys here is to be more conscious of your thoughts. Before it comes out, like, am I using a logical fallacy before I'm saying this, right?
Chris, what's that one called?
That one's called argument ad populum.
Everybody else is doing it, so you should do it, or bandwagon.
Thank you.
Next one is a hypnotic bait and switch, which is creating a series of truthful statements and then planting a false statement at the end.
Why should we believe you?
Well, the sky is blue, the ocean is wet, fire is hot, and pigs can fly.
They can fly?
Of course. Don't you believe my rhetoric?
That happens all the time.
Right? But you see how if you say, if like in your mind, I said 3 things that are truthful, and you kind of like almost naturally, but pigs can fly. Pigs can't fly, because you say those truthful things, it leads your mind into thinking that the 4th thing's truthful. It's very common with politicians that use that. Because people are not, it's hypnotic, bait and switch, because you already bought into what they said and they changed the last thing. Does it make sense?
A lot of misinformation too, because you'll be like, oh, I know this to be true. Haven't researched that, but all the other stuff is true. This stuff must be true too, and then we're all kind of off on different perspectives on stuff.
It's misdirection.
Misdirection, yeah.
Exactly.
Giving you a lot of truthful stuff and then hiding the untruthful stuff in it somewhere. And so the person agrees with a lot of it and then maybe agrees with some of the stuff they're not so clear on, thinking this person is upstanding lots of truth, but then they're also now going along with some uninformed truth as well, or mistruth.
Next one we have is appeal to fear. It's utilizing fear as a means to win your argument.
Instead of studying the Trivium tonight, I think we should just watch Netflix and chill.
Yeah, buddy. But don't you want to master logical fallacies and win more arguments?
Man, I'm going to kick you in the balls if you mention Pythagoras and his silly 3, 4, 5 triangle again. I'm tired of that stuff.
So I'm afraid now because he's going to kick me in the balls. So we want to make it funny, but if somebody threatens you, it could be a very light threat too. You know, and just something subtle, but just know it's an appeal to fear and understand where that logical fallacy is coming. Like that's logically fallacious. You're appealing fear, like screw your fear. You know what I mean? So being conscious of this stuff is very important. We have 2 to go.
All right, next one is slippery slope. One thing will lead to another, and then another, and another, and it's all going to go downhill.
So what do you think will happen after this next election?
Corporations will collapse, causing banks to fail. The concept of government will be reinvented, and the world will finally have peace.
Wow, that would be cool, but we'll need to study the Trivium to make that happen.
Definitely. All right.
So it's kind of a positive slippery slope, but it was still
Yeah, because I think
logical.
Yeah, because I'm like, why, wouldn't you that they think the exact opposite?
Right.
Shut up. I thought about making it all dark, and I was like, no, I'll make it positive. But it's still a slippery slope, so either it can be positive or a negative slippery slope, right? But the key point is that we should study the Trivium more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I get you.
Last one.
All right, and the last one we have is argument from antiquity. It's been done this way for generations, so we should keep doing it this way.
Wouldn't it be great to come up with an improved way of running our financial, healthcare, agriculture, and banking systems in such a way that it would work for everyone and not just profit a few?
We've been doing it this way for years. Maybe you should just keep eating your McDonald's, pop in your prescription drugs, watch your live vision, get a high-paying job, buy more stuff, and just do something with your time and not question authority, because this is the way that it is. It's always been this way, and it will never change.
Yeah, you're probably right.
This is the biggest fallacy of all, because a lot of older generations, and even some people from our generation, are being heavily indoctrinated into this belief that it can't change. And that's the biggest fallacy. That's what we wanted to finish on. Because we here at the Trivium Group, we're changing that. We gotta. When people say that's a very common one. Say, well, it's always been this way. We can't change. That's partially that's their own fear. They're afraid of change. And so that's why we're doing this stuff, so that you can learn to teach people to not be so afraid. You can teach them that they just use the logical fallacy. That was just an argument from antiquity. You can change, and it is changed, and you have the ability right now. That one moment can change somebody's life forever. Make sense? What'd you guys think of that? Did you like that?
Yeah.
Were we entertaining a
Well,
little bit?
unpolished, I know.
We just made that a couple days ago, so.